Are you ready for some Christmas cheer? Well, this is actually my last painting for this year, and I am doing Christmas, and it's actually Christmas. Can you believe it? This is a first for me. So anyway, well, let's just go ahead and go to my canvas and see what I have started. Well, the first thing I did was to put my clear oil medium over the whole canvas. I just want it totally covered. Then I took some Indian yellow, some red, a little bit of alizarin crimson, and a little bit of blue up on the very top here, and I just spread that across. And then on the bottom, I just put a little bit of blue and crimson in the center. So then I want now to brighten this up some. So I'm just taking some pure white on my 1-inch landscape brush, and let's just go ahead and start making crisscross strokes in the Indian yellow. And I'm just blending this all the way across, going up into the red color, sort of blending the red and the yellow together. This makes a really bright, pretty sky. At least I think it does. And just keep blending upwards, little by little. So this is a night sky, so I don't want it too dark, but I don't want it too light either. And this is probably getting a little on the dark side. So let's just go ahead and add a little bit more white down in the yellow here, and then gradually come up a little bit, just adding in the white through the center part, and finally up into the blue crimson area. Oh, that makes a pretty color. Doesn't that really shine up nice on a black canvas? Now I will have all my colors listed in the description below if you want to check them out. That little spot, I had to get that off there. It was just bugging me. Okay, blend all the way across. Now with my 2-inch blending brush, I just want to very gently start blending all these colors together. Just again doing these crisscross strokes, big strokes, all the way across. And just blend, blend, blend until it's as smooth as you want it to be. You know, Christmas is one of my favorite times of the year. I love the lights, the colors, baby Jesus being born, the mangers that I see in different yards. Oh, it's just a great time of the year, just a really wonderful time to celebrate. Anyway, just go ahead and blend this all together here. And now with my fan brush, number 3 fan brush, dipping into just a little bit of oil medium and some white. I just want to make this a very thin mix. The reason is that I want to make a few stars. So very thin mix, grab my knife and just kind of give little flicks with the brush against the knife. I don't want it real heavy. I want a few stars to show up, but not a great deal. It is nighttime. There would be a few little stars out, especially on a beautiful clear night like this. That's where I came up with the name Oh Holy Night, because it just fit. So again, taking more white on my fan brush, let's go ahead and just start bringing in some snow. And I'm just lightly in the snow areas, just bringing this down from the outer edge into the center. And it'll gradually pick up a little bit of that color. Let's do the other side. Just keep bringing that down. You just kind of want this to kind of fade into the background, kind of blend in with that sky, so you don't really see a definite line. It's just sort of fused together. And again, with more white, let's just go ahead and hit the front of the canvas here in the center. and just spread that out a little bit. Now, this is off to a really good start. Now this is my round brush. It's for the moon, and it's a floral brush. In case if you don't have a floral brush, use any round brush that you have. I'm going to put this off center just a little bit to the right side, and so what I'm going to do, just watch now. Just put your brush straight in wherever you decide you want your moon, and just start twirling your brush. Now you can make this moon as big or as small as you want. Now that didn't come out real clear, and it didn't come out round, so let's just try that again. Loading the brush, go in, touch, press, and just make a circle. There, that's better. Okay, just fill it in a little bit if you need to. Your moon will be different than mine, but that's okay. And then let's just go ahead. I want to touch up just that center a little bit, make it just a teensy bit lighter, right in the center. Yeah, that's perfect. That'll work. I like that. Okay, that completes the sky. Now with my filbert brush, let's go into, well, I'll tell you what, let's do this first. Let's grab the knife and grab some blue, some green, and some crimson. Not too much crimson though, but we do want a dark color. This is going to be for the tree. So mix that up just a little bit and start loading that brush. Now you really want to load it heavy. A lot of paint, so wiggle that brush back and forth. Just get it loaded with green paint. And I'll tell you, I love this filbert brush for doing evergreen trees. It makes the most interesting branches, and there's no other brush that'll make branches like this. Well, if there is, I haven't found it. But anyway, so starting at the top, couple of little taps. You just want a few small branches up here at the top. And now as I start coming down, I start pressing a little bit harder, going a little bit wider and crossing over the center sometimes, and then going out and just working back and forth. I want to add a little bit more dark green here because it didn't get quite dark green enough, but you can see that on your painting. You know, for me, Christmas is a time to celebrate the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ, and it's just a beautiful time of the year. Now as you keep coming down, get wider and press harder. Just bring this as low as you want. You know, have you ever noticed that a Christmas tree is in the shape of a triangle? It's just like the Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I think that's pretty nice. Something else that's very comforting to me is every living thing that God created on earth exists in heaven. Oh my gosh, isn't that a beautiful thing to look forward to? All the beauty that God created is here on earth and up in heaven. So I love nature. I love what God has created for us. Just look at these trees that we can paint. It's beautiful. So I want to do these little side trees here because I don't want just one main tree in the center, although that would look very pretty. If you wanted to do just one tree, you could, but I decided I want these little trees on the sides, more or less just to become an eye stopper so that your eye doesn't travel off of the picture. So just bringing down a little bit of shadow here. And let's do And a little shadow down here in the bottom. This big tree, because of the moon where it's placed, there would be a shadow on this left side of the tree. I think that's looking pretty good. And let's go ahead. I want to add just a couple more trees on this side here. Let's just do one here and one right next to it over here. You don't have to add these little trees if you don't want, but I like them. Now, tell me, what was your favorite childhood memory of Christmas? Did you have one? Oh my gosh, I've got a couple. Well, maybe a couple. Oh, we didn't do the decorating for our tree, but actually on the tree, but we did do a lot of making decorations. My mother would get out the scissors and the glue and oh my gosh, and when she'd get out popcorn, you remember stringing popcorn? Did you ever do that as a kid? Oh my gosh, we strung a lot of popcorn. And my folks were always the one that put it on the tree, not us. And how about that, making paper chains out of strips of paper? Did you ever do that? Where you link them all together and then you either glue them or you staple them and you just make these rings, these chains, and then you have a beautiful chain to put on the tree. I love that. You know, getting creative. Here's a manger I painted several years ago. I actually even made the barn by gluing all the little wood pieces together. And believe me, there was a lot of them. And then I took, what is that called? Oh, I can't think of it. Anyway, it's grassy stuff. And I glued all that grassy stuff to the roof and I put it in the manger floor. And oh, I just had so much fun with that. It was just, I had a great time. I don't have that manger anymore, unfortunately. Anyway, let's add some trunks to our tree here. Just a few. I don't want real heavy trunks. I just want sparse little trunks, just kind of an indication that there's something on these trees here. So I just mixed brown and white. That was it, with a palette knife, just touching each tree lightly. And if it happens to get too heavy, if your trunks are too heavy, well, just take a little bit of this dark green and just go over the trunks where you don't like what you see. And you can just fill in any areas that are too light. And when I go over with highlights, some of this will be covered anyway, so that won't make any difference. Anyway, get those trees just like you like them. So now back with a clean, I want a clean filbert brush, excuse me, going into some white and blue. I just want a light blue color. This is going to be for the highlight side of the tree. Load that brush really well, and I dip into just a tiniest little bit of oil medium because I want this paint to be a little bit thin. Thin paint will stick to a thick paint, but it doesn't work in the reverse. So you want this paint really nice and thin. Now let's go back up to the top here again and just very, very lightly just touch a few places here and there. You want to concentrate mostly on touching the tops of the tree branches. You'd have a few highlights in the other places, but not a whole lot. Loading that brush some more, making more paint. Let's come down a little bit further. Still concentrating on the branches, the upper part of the branches. You know, when my hubby was here, we always celebrated Christmas at a restaurant called Stuart Anderson's. was a great place, also called the Cattle Company. And we would get all dressed up in fancy clothes, and I'd put on my fancy high heels and nice makeup and poof up my hair, and we always had such a romantic time. For us, it was all about sharing time together. It wasn't about presents and, you know, all the things that people seem to symbolize today, gift giving and all that. No, for us, it was sharing our time together. Okay, just a few touches on these outer trees here. They would have just a little bit of highlight from the moon also. Now back into this white and just a very light touch of blue. I want more, just a very, very light blue, because this is the highlight side of the tree. So again, load that brush really well, both sides. Dip into your medium so that it's nice and thin. Well, remembering back, I think probably I was about 7, possibly 7 or 8 years old. My most fabulous Christmas when I was just a child was waking up one morning. My sister and I shared a bedroom. We had bunk beds. But this one morning, I remember waking up, and there, right in front of me, was a table and chairs. I got so excited. There was a big red bow on the table, and there was 2 chairs, and there was a doll in each chair, one for my sister and one for myself. Now, you're probably thinking of a dining room table, right? Well, this was far from it. This was a little miniature table and chair set made just for the size that my sister and I were. Oh my gosh, that was a most glorious Christmas. So now we're going to do that final highlight, and that's the white part. So again, load that brush really well. Don't forget your little bit of medium. And now we're doing more towards the center of the tree, highlighting that center. What that does is it kind of gives it a more rounded appearance. Just keep working downward. See, I can see on this left side here, it just is not quite right yet. I got to keep working on this here. Just keep filling that in. And that's starting to look a little bit better. What I'm going to do now is let this painting dry for 2 days. I want it to be mostly dry. It can be just a slight bit tacky, but I don't want it to pick up too much paint because I'm going to do the decorating of the tree. So now the real fun begins. This is the lights. So I'm back to my round brush. Now it's a clean round brush. And I want to start out by going into, how about Indian yellow and a little red. And just mix those 2 colors together. Just get a nice little mix there, a nice color that you like, kind of an orangey color. And let's just pick some spots here. And I'm just going to, well, wait a minute, this needs a little more cad yellow so that it shows up a little bit better. And just go ahead and make some little round spots. Now this is actually going to be the lights. And so wherever you want to place your lights, that's where you put them. You can have a lot of lights, or you can just do a couple lights. Doesn't make any difference, whatever your preference is. This is quite a technique here, I'll tell you. I looked at a real Christmas tree. I took some photos of my own tree, just so I could see how the lights looked in a photograph. So now what I want you to do is wipe that brush off, and now I want you to just kind of tickle the outside edges, making it somewhat blurry, and what that does is expand that little center circle. So it just is blurred, and it's going outward. That's kind of what it's gonna give the glow of the light. It took a while to bring this all together, but it was sure fun working with it. Okay, I think that's enough lights for me. I think that looks really good right now. And so next I want to just, same brush, wiped it off. I want to go into just pure cad yellow. And what I want to do is hit the inner part of each one of these circles. Now I don't want too big of a blob, but I want it just leave enough of a glob that you can work with that little center part. Keep loading that brush and hit that center. Oh, that's a good one. Okay, like that, yeah. See, already that's starting to look pretty real. Okay, wipe your brush off good. Now what I want you to do is go and just lightly, very lightly, from the center going outwards, just expand that little yellow circle. And like I say, do this very lightly, otherwise your colors are all going to blend together. That's not what you want. You just want this little kind of a starburst in the center. So just lightly tickle it. Already this is looking great. That is good. That one turned out so nice. See, some of them turn out better than others, you know. That's just part of painting, isn't it? So almost done here. Good. Okay, now wiping that brush off again, really good. Go into some pure white. And now, very lightly, just touch the center of each little circle. That top one is a little bit too much. But now see, all of a sudden, doesn't that look like glowing lights? It's perfect. You couldn't ask for better than that. And if you love it like this, you can just leave your painting like this. You don't have to add anything more to it. You can just have a tree out there with these lights. It would be beautiful. However, being the silly girl that I am, I'm not going to leave it. This is my Bob Ross number 6 flat brush. It's the wildlife brush. So let's do some colored balls. I want to start out with a red light. So let's just go into some red and a little bit of cad yellow. The reason being that red is a little bit on the deeper side, and so what I want to do is make it more of an orangey red color, a little bit lighter red. So let's go in and just start making little circles, just like we did the moon. You go in, press, and just twirl that brush. Let's make one here. That's good. Let's do another one right down here. Let's make this one larger. We don't want all these balls to be the exact same size because that is kind of boring. To me it is. But if you want all yours the same size, that's cool. So I'm just filling in a little bit more, and let's just do a few little tiny ones. Just kind of making little dots. And again, you could leave your painting just like this. You don't necessarily need to add more colored balls to your painting. So now I want to add a little bit of white to this red to lighten the color. See, our moon would be shining on the tree, and so it would be the upper right side that would have a little bit of highlight on each ball. Wipe the brush frequently. Grab that white and just hit the top. Blend that in just a tiny bit. Adding more white now. Just hit those little teeny balls just on the top corner. And now with crimson, let's do the underside of those balls, and so that it will be the shadow side. So nice deep color. Just going underneath, just lightly, and then just sort of blending that in a tiny bit. That gives it a three-dimensional look, and it just is very striking. Are you liking this so far? I think this is so fun. And so with white, I'm just lightly touching each little ball with just the tiniest little bit of white highlight. Now let's go into the green. We're going to start out with a medium color, so grab a little bit of white, making this a medium shade of green. The green won't show up quite as much as the red or the yellow or the blue, but it'll show up enough. So let's have one here. How about one down here? Yeah, that's nice. I think we need one more. How about over here? Now a little bit of white. We just want to lighten the color for the highlight side. Well, let's make a little few dots first. Those would be just little decorations. Now for some white. Make this a very light green. Just touch the very top of each little ball. Yeah, that's nice. Just sort of blend that out a little bit if it needs blending. You could do this with a round, small, like a detail brush too. That would probably work out well. The flat brush makes a bigger ball, which is why I decided to use the flat brush. And now with white, just highlight the very tips. Just a small little dot. And wipe off that brush really well, and let's go into some blue. A little bit of white to lighten the color. So you have a nice medium blue. And let's put one up here. Let's have another one right here. This one is a little bit bigger. Oh, let's have a larger one down here. A little bit of white in here. Let's make a few of the little teeny ones. Now some almost white, not quite white, but a light color. Very light. Touch the top of each ball. Wipe the brush off. If you need to blend out any of these colors, go ahead and blend out a little bit. Wipe that brush off really well, and now with the dark blue, very dark blue, go ahead and just go on the underside of the ball. That really makes them pop out nice. And blend if you need to do some blending. Wasn't this a fun project? I thought it was just a lot of fun. So now I want to go through one more time and just touch up those lights, a little spark of white just right in the center. Pure white, just on the lights. And if you want, you can just let this painting dry and do that touch up afterwards, after the painting is dry. So now let's just do a few little reflections in the snow. Let's pull down a little bit of green. Wipe the brush off, and we'd have a little bit of blue down here. And some red. with the filbert brush, just kind of blend that bottom out so that it just looks kind of fuzzy or hazy. And I think we need to add now just a little touch of snow. And if you wanted to do something really different, you could take and let this painting dry completely, and then where the balls are and the star, we'll be putting on a star, you could just let that dry and then glaze just that parts of the painting. Just glaze the little balls and the star. And then you can sprinkle glitter on it, and the glitter will stick to the glaze, but it won't stick to the rest of the painting. I've done a few paintings like that where I highlighted mountains or snow or something with glitter. It really turns out neat. So that's something you could try if you wanted to. So just add a little bit more snow here and there, wherever you think. So I think now I know I want to bring this tree down just a tiny bit more so that it looks a little bit more rounded. And you know, if you enjoyed this video, be sure and like and share it with your friends, your artist friends. It would be a fun painting to do. So now let's go ahead and start on the star. With my flat brush, I am just going to make almost like a figure of a man. So you have his head here and his little arms and then his little feet. Now that's the start of a star. Of course, this isn't the finished star, but just sort of start working the paint to make that star shape. And this, for me, I don't know if you can see it or not, but I am working, my hand is about a half a foot above my head. So I am looking at a very strange angle, and it's very difficult to paint this. Because for one thing, it's the glare, I can't see. For the other thing, the angle makes it extremely difficult. So, you know, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this painting down to actually finish it. And when I do get it finished, then I will show you a photo of it. But anyway, right now, for what I want to do is just go ahead and in the center of this star add some Cad Yellow. And just working outward. And when I'm through with the Cad Yellow, I will highlight in the center with white. Can you see how I'm just lightly bringing out little streaks of white? I'm going to have even more than that, but it does make a nice glow up there on top, I think. But when I get it down where I can see it, it's going to be a lot better. Okay, be back with you in a minute. So I finally finished the painting, and I must tell you, I am very pleased with it. I love the way these lights glow. You might also enjoy painting my Christmas candle, which I'll put that up on the screen here. And thank you for joining me today. I wish you all a very blessed Christmas.